Hey everybody, it's Thursday at noon and we're in the kitchen with Susan, the Ultra Marathon Grandma. I've already got the onions sizzling. I got 3 really hungry boys outside who are painting my house, doing an excellent job, MEK Construction. And I told them I'd make them some buffalo chickpea chili. So far what we have done is I made some brown rice, and I always like to mix my brown rice with a little bit of quinoa. So brown rice and quinoa. And then I also cooked up a spaghetti squash. So you could use that for spaghetti under your chili. If you're in Cincinnati and you know about Skyline, you know we have to have spaghetti with our chili. I prefer rice. So those things are already done and waiting for them. Right now I got the onions sizzling in here and we're about ready to throw the garlic in. I was reading through my recipe and realized I forgot to cut up the pepper. So we're gonna have to do that. This recipe is quick and easy. I mean, it can be done in like 30 minutes. So all you have to chop up is the onions, the garlic, which you could buy minced garlic already, celery, carrots, and a pepper, which I'm going to be chopping up here in a minute. And everything else is open in a can. So what I always like to say is know your cans. So we've got a can of tomato sauce, which what's in there? Tomatoes. We got a can of fire roasted diced tomatoes. What's in there? Tomatoes. A little bit of water, salt. And then we were out of dark kidney beans again, so I used a tri-blend of pinto, dark kidney, and black beans, and a can of garbanzo beans. I buy the Kroger Simple Truth. They just have beans and water in them. And then I found this chicken buffalo wing sauce that has cayenne pepper, distilled vinegar. It does have soybean oil, but the oil is 0%. I don't know how that happens, but it is. The only thing I'm questioning is the natural butter flavoring. I'm not sure what that is. Salt, garlic, and xanthan gum. But this was the best choice when you looked at all the other brands, which had a ton of preservatives in them. No preservatives. That's my first and utmost demand. So we got the onions and the garlic cooking in there. And I got all of this at my local grocery store. So no specialty shopping this time. And I'm just gonna quick cut up this. The recipe called for just a half a cup of everything, but I never see why I should just put half a pepper back or half an onion back. So I just do it all. I use it all. I use 2 ribs of celery, 2 carrots, chop those up. And I was saying how you could make this quicker. You could actually use carrot shreds and throw those in there, give them a rough cut if you didn't like the size of them. And you would only have to probably then cut up I know you can buy onions and celery and carrots already chopped up at the store in a container together. And if you were pressed for time, you could do that. So the only thing you really have to probably cut up is the pepper. And it doesn't take long to chop up a pepper. I don't know if you can see me chopping this up, but this is how I like to chop them up. So I cut them in half, get the seeds out, I cut the top off, and that's all this. And then I cut the bottom off and chop that up. It's a great way for doing them for a veggie tray too. And then you have this piece left and you can just make sticks. Cut off the white membrane. Doesn't take me long at all. And then cut it up in sticks. You could use it for dip that way. I cut it up in pretty skinny sticks and then chop the sticks crossways for, chopping. I'm hoping you can see what I'm doing here. And that's pretty much it. I'm gonna put the rest of that aside because that's pretty much pepper for whatever else we got going on. Hey, you guys. Hi, Patsy. Hi, Sarah. Sarah, how are you? It's been a while since we've seen each other. You probably could make this for the crew at the fire station and they would love it. It's so super simple. I just make it in my rice cooker as I do everything. You can make it in a crock pot. I know this is Crocktober, but you really don't have to. So I'm gonna put in the celery. And like I've told y'all, I'm doing my Julia Childs thing where I have everything prepared ahead of time, but that's what these dinky little coffee cups from the dishes are good for. And that's about it. They're not good for coffee, that's for sure. Can't get enough coffee in there. All right, we got the celery, the carrots. I'm gonna put the peppers in there too, let those all cook for a few minutes. Anybody that's watching got any questions for me today? I don't remember where I found this recipe. And I'm not sure if it was already vegan or if I veganized it. Either way, if you wanted to put meat in it, you could do ground chicken, ground turkey, ground beef. You could do shredded chicken. But it really doesn't have to have any meat in it because it's got beans and lots of fiber. Last week, someone asked me to tell them the carb count. And I don't know how to do that when I'm making up the recipe, but I'm going to start gathering that information when I use someone else's recipe. I understand that some people need to know the carbs for sugar if they're diabetic, especially people with diabetes type 1. They really have to keep a close watch on that. I personally don't count carbs or calories. I just eat plants. And what I have learned is that when the fiber count is higher, then it kind of negates the sugar load. And so then that's what you want is complex carbs. Fruits, vegetables, whole grains, nuts, seeds, all of that has complex carbs, whereas your baked goods, crackers, pretzels, pastries, anything that's manufactured with white flour, even some whole grains, then you get the higher simple carbs. Hey, Rachel. You like watching me cook? Too bad you're an ocean away. You could come over. I'm going to have these 3 guys in here in a minute that are painting my house in here, and they're going to be eating all this while I'm in the other room going to business building class. I already told them lunch will be served at 12:30 when we get done here. So I got the vegetables sauteing. I'm going to sprinkle in the spices. So the spices are, and I will post the recipe as soon as I'm done here, or at least by 2:30 when I'm done with class. It's garlic, which is already in there, chili powder, smoked paprika, and salt and cumin. So I'm going to put that in there with the vegetables and let that get, I think it gets so much more aromatic when you cook it dry before you put the wet in. I don't know, it just seems to bring the flavors out of the spices better. You're coming over? You're going to sail across the Great Blue Sea and have some lunch? Too bad we can't eat virtually on Zoom like we can hook up and connect and be with each other. Oh, and there goes the dog. Willow, it's okay. Sorry about that. Come on, come. Out there. I don't really like to let her out if they're up on the ladders, but I think they're all on ground level right now. My deck is right to my left, and so they're cleaning things up because they know lunch is about ready to be served. All right, that's all good. I'm gonna add the tomatoes and the tomato sauce. I sent my husband to the grocery yesterday, and I literally have to write everything down. He didn't know there were two kinds of parsley. I always buy flat parsley because it has so much more flavor than the curly. So he brought me curly. He didn't know there were two kinds. And then my beans. I'm so picky about my beans because beans don't need to have color enhancers or preservatives. I don't want that stuff in my food. So he bought the off store brand. I'm so picky about my beans that I pack any beans I'm going to use in my cooking for vacation, because at Publix they do not have a brand of bean that doesn't have sodium dioxide in it, and I'm not eating sodium dioxide. And you may say, oh, it's only 1 can, but you know what? That stuff adds up in our bodies. So later today, I'm going to take 2 cans of kidney beans and 2 cans of cannellini beans back to the store to get the brand that I normally buy. And he even said, I know that's the brand of beans you buy. I don't know what I was thinking. God love him. All right, we got the tomatoes in there with all the veggies that we're cooking. And now I'm gonna put the beans in. We're using tried beans because we didn't want to use those beans with preservatives. Kidney beans, pinto beans, black beans. It's really a good blend if you can find it at your local store. And garbanzo beans. I know they're not your usual chili beans, but believe you me, they're really good. So all that's in there, and it just has to, all it has to do is heat through. The secret ingredient, the buffalo sauce. So 2 to 3 tablespoons of that, and believe you me, this stuff is spicy. So I always start with 2, and I'm just gonna set it here on the counter. If those guys, 2 of them smoke, so they may not get the same kick as the other one. The smoking kind of dulls your taste buds. So I'm just gonna put 2 tablespoons of that in there. Can always add, can't take it out. You know, a trick that does work is to add a potato, a whole potato, stick it in there, and the potato kind of soaks some of that out, and then you can throw the, hi Karen, you're watching me while you're at lunch. That's so funny, Rachel, that your dog is barking in response to my dog. I threw her outside. Anyway, it's done. Do you want to see it? Let me try not to put the phone in the soup like I did the one day. Can you see it in there? I don't know. I always have a hard time with this. Let me take it off of here. And there's the pot. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's really a thick chili, and very good, and husband approved. So that was our quickie for today. Hope you make it. Hope your family loves it like mine does, and I'm hoping these guys like it. You never know about guys, right? They said they weren't picky. So here we go. We're off. We're early today. Next week, if you have something you'd like me to cook, let me know. And if not, I probably will I might make 2 soups next week. 3 Sisters, and if you're curious about what 3 Sisters is, look it up. Corn, squash, and what's the 3rd sister? Well, maybe you'll have to Google it. And maybe we'll make the 10 spice chili. Or I have a creamy vegetable soup too. That is so good. You wouldn't think a creamy vegetable soup, but it's really good. So I'll keep you posted, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Hope you have a great weekend. We got Blink here in Cincinnati, so everybody's going. It's awesome laser show on the buildings. It's really awesome. So thanks for hanging out with me today, and I will see you all next week. Bye.